We're definitely not getting Facebook Live tonight. Good old Facebook. Yeah, it's not banging out Facebook Live tonight. Still spinning wheels.
Let's see. Let it spin.
Do you see it in Facebook Live? Because it's telling me it's not going live. But
I'm looking right now. Let's see.
everybody's going to run coronavirus.
Let's see. Nothing yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get Facebook Live. It's so freaking annoying lately with this crap with Facebook. We can always record this and then repost it in the group, you know. So, you want to post a message to the group that everybody jump on Zoom? Facebook Live is not working tonight.
Yep, you got it.
And the password is BBR. Hey, Iva. There we go. Facebook's not behaving as usual. So what we're going to do, Iva, is we're going to do the Zoom, record it live, and then I'll repost it to the group, your group, and YouTube.
And I don't. You can keep me on mute. I'm just doing the slides for Nikki from my house.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I just figured it's before the show now.
Okay.
Oh, Nikki needs to be upgraded.
I'll do that now if I can find her on here. This is a reminder. I bet you that's Nikki. Want to bet? Yep. Her name is This Is a Reminder.
There she is.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Girl, I know where you are. I can't hear you.
Got to unmute
Hi
yourself,
there. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I used that code. I copy and pasted it, and it wouldn't let me onto the panelist. So.
Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're having like all kinds of tech things. Facebook Live will not go live no matter what. They must.
I'm gonna put. Do you want me to Facebook Live from Salon Owner Mastermind on my iPad?
It will not even get it. I mean, you could. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Let me try.
Oh, that's an interesting
What I'll do is, even after doing that, I'll do the clean version. After it's uploaded from Zoom, I'll repost it everywhere.
All right, let me try from my iPad.
Is that what you said?
No, there's the clean Zoom version, you know, with
there's a clean version. Is there a clean version versus a not so clean version?
Yeah, this is like
with us on here, right?
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Ivan, this is like a rap video. There's a clean version and there's a radio edit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to get on Facebook Live.
Where'd Nico go?
He's at the kitchen table. I told him to don't bother me. Hold on.
And Facebook is still spinning its wheels. How nice.
It's not allowing me to. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Tell me if it goes up, okay?
I have to log onto my phone to see.
I got it up now. Let me see.
You got up to Facebook Live?
No, I have up Salon Owner Mastermind. I just want to see. Oh,
I'm on Salon Owner Mastermind. You want me to do it from my iPad, or you want to do it from yours?
Well, if you're gonna do your own face, if you're gonna do like the.
Yeah, it would have to be yours.
Yeah, you'd have to be live and then on video for us. I don't know how many devices are you using, Nikki?
Do you want me to try to get it on mine, or are you going to try on yours?
Let me see if I can do it.
You won't be able to broadcast if you're on yours, though, James. She'll have to do it directly from her iPad.
Hey, listen, I'm pretty resourceful, man. Let's see if this will be a first.
Tell you, if this
So
doesn't
we'll
work,
do
then
it for
I'm
mine.
going to go back to basic Zoom and buy that other platform.
This will be the first time I ever went on 4 devices at the same time. So the iPad is up, the Mac is up, and the phone is up, and the iPad Pro is up. I don't know. This is crazy. Let me see.
You're talented.
Do you want me to try to go live now? Is that
I've
I
been
don't want to
called
go
way
live.
worse, Iva.
What'll happen, Nikki, is for people here on live, it'll have to be on your iPad. So
Okay.
James,
I'll
how are the
start-
kids today?
This is our first day back to school after break. It was.
Oh my God.
You know, it was all wine and roses. It was great. They brought mommy flowers and they all cleaned their rooms, and you know, that's my
Wow.
Facebook version of the story, right? It's
Oh,
like,
God.
oh my
Oh,
God,
it's
this is so
guys.
good.
Are you
Gotcha.
them off screen?
So the live for the Salon Owner Mastermind isn't going from James' computer, so we're going to try to go from mine. I hope. Can you guys all message me on here to make sure that I'm up? Can you see that I'm up, guys?
Let me
Salon Owner
see.
Mastermind?
Yeah, you are live, Nikki. I can see you.
Yay! Hi, Vera. Hi, guys.
Perfect. Cool. So that's good. So now we'll have the Zoom and the Facebook Live going.
Are we
Beautiful.
All right, let me try to, Nikki, let me pull the, hold on a minute.
Let's see, Nikki.
Oh, shit.
I
Hi,
agree.
Gino.
All right, so Nikki, I can hear you on the Facebook Live.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. There's like a 20-second delay. So I'm going to
Oh, I
turn my
see.
volume down on the Facebook Live, and I'm just going to help with answering comments.
All right, Derek, tell me again how to put the PowerPoint up.
Down at the bottom of Zoom, there's going to be a green share button, share screen. You're going to share your screen, and when the PowerPoint is open.
Gotcha. I just want to make sure she can see it from where she is. Hold on one
I
second.
have
Yeah, as long as she has her iPad
I have my
up too, she'll be
computer.
her
Iva.
computer up. She'll be able to see both. Nikki, don't pay attention to
I'm
this to the iPad because it'll be delayed. Just pay attention to the computer.
Can you see it, Nikki?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Then I'm going to get
Hang on.
out of it for right
I'm
now.
gonna put my dog away. Stealing, come on. Can you put him upstairs in the bedroom?
Hey, James.
I got you.
Okay,
James.
so all the attendees, just hang in there. We're going to start in a few minutes.
All right, Iva, what do you need?
Did you see that there was somebody posted today about homeschooling, and they said tomorrow they were going to do a fire drill with their kids?
Thanks, Gino.
It's so
And
funny.
that they had to hide in the dryer.
Yeah, you know what? I might have to take that idea because they're
That was
like,
pretty funny.
it's crazy.
How are we doing on time? Hi, guys.
We are good. We're
I'm
gonna
in
get
charge of
started.
Facebook Live tonight, just so you guys know, on my iPad from here, not James. So if something goes wrong with that, don't judge.
It's James' fault something goes wrong.
It's always my
Hey,
fault.
James,
I've learned that.
James,
I'm very
what is-
comfortable with constructive criticism. I always take it as constructive and not
There's nothing constructive about it, buddy.
Actually, it's not his fault. It's Zoom's, and Zoom is not worth the
Thank you,
money.
guys.
Just in case anybody's wondering, don't upgrade. Stay on the basic version. Hey James? What's that other multicast platform?
Well, I was on a Microsoft Teams today. That
Hi,
was
everyone.
No.
What was
That
that?
one we were talking about. That I can do Zoom and other things all at once.
like Manicam or something like that.
Yeah, Manycam. All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna look it up because Zoom is really starting to aggravate me at paying this much money and not being able to go live on Facebook. So
You see
Did you
that?
know you shouldn't blame it on me because every time I try to go to a seminar where you're there, you disappear. So you're
Oh.
sort of like you're like when you go to the Bronx Zoo and you want to see the weird rhinoceros, and all of a sudden the exhibit's closed. Gino is meeting the rhinoceros at the zoo.
Oh, that's good.
That was
Hey
really good.
guys, Facebook Live is loading up. It has
rare white rhinoceros.
The
we're
rare
at 51
you're
or
gonna go
52
to
on
the zoo with
Facebook
the rare
Live.
Gino.
We need Steve Irving to do the the whole
God
thing in
rest
the
his
back
soul.
about Gino.
Hey, Derek, did you see anything about that Facebook workplace?
Yeah. It's for teams. It's okay. I mean, it's so you can do lives and you can share information. It's almost like a group. It doesn't have many more.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Thanks, Suzanne. Hi guys.
What
So
happened to the front porch, Nikki?
I'm handling. Oh, no front porch right now. I gotta have lighting. It's super dark here.
Okay, so we are going to get started in 5
Sounds like
minutes.
no, I got them microbladed.
That wasn't social
5 minutes?
distancing if you got your eyebrows microbladed, young lady.
Yeah, Nikki, 5 minutes and counting. Nikki's lagging a little bit. I don't know why.
So excited to be with you guys tonight. Thank you for signing on.
Hey,
Gino's on
Diana.
here.
Ronnie, what's up?
No.
Hey, Oscar.
Gino's on the Zoom. I can't believe it.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a fan because I've been having hot flashes all day.
Every time, everybody, don't forget the word of the day is Iva, and when you hear Iva, start your drinking game.
Oh, okay. What word are we going for?
Here's your name.
Oh.
Either that or I don't know. Let's get a creative one that Nikki says all the time. Shit. Come
Or,
on, Iva. I'm in here.
let's see.
Gino, I'm saying. Hi, Rodney.
Just go for my name. You'll be drunk.
Thank you. That's 62 on the Facebook Live. James, can you see
62
that?
Facebook.
Can you see how many people are on Facebook Live or no?
Yeah, so you got 62 on Facebook, another 53 in here, not counting the panelists. So
Nice.
Okay.
we're
Okay.
cooking.
I'm cooking too. I'm like, can you tell I'm sweaty?
Yeah.
This isn't smell
Hi,
of
Gloria.
so you're okay.
If you
Totally
saw,
having hot flashes.
Nikki, if you saw where I'm recording these videos, it's sort of like when somebody's held captive and they have to respond back to their home country. It's sort of like that. The lights are on me. I might as well be in cuffs behind me. They just took the mask off, which actually helps.
Take the hood off.
Yeah, it's starting to lose my mind. I've been in, solitary confinement with 3 kids, which I don't know if that counts as solitary, but
Close enough.
it's actually worse. It's like that they
So,
should make
hey
that.
guys.
Solitary
Oscar
would be a
says he
precious
can hear
gift
you
right
guys.
now, James.
Hey guys. Oscar says that he can hear you guys talking on there. Should I do something about that?
He hears it on. So, Nikki, are you on Facebook or are you on Zoom or both?
I'm on both. I'm on Zoom teaching you guys here and then
Okay.
on the
So-
Facebook Live on my iPad.
Turn your volume off on your iPad. If you click the top corner, it should give you an option to disconnect audio on your iPad.
Okay.
And then they'll only hear you through the Zoom and not through
Okay.
both.
Oh, but what about the ones that want to hear? Oh, okay. All right.
No, so they'll hear you on the Facebook Live because it's being re-recorded, I think.
Okay. All right.
Let's try that out. Hey guys on Facebook, can you hear Nikki?
Can you guys hear me now? Oscar, is that better? Oscar, I turned the volume off on the iPad for the Facebook Live. Is that better?
We're saying yes. I think we're good.
Yeah, you're
Are we
good.
good? Oscar, I'm waiting to hear from you, man.
We got a little feedback because we're all on at once.
This.
Once we mute everybody, you should be good to go. Lisa, if you want to see the Facebook Live, you have
Lisa,
to go into.
Facebook Live, you're gonna go to some Facebook group. You don't wanna be on the Zoom.
Hey,
And how are you?
good. Zoom problems tonight.
No, it's Facebook as usual, but
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
Do we blame it on Facebook or Zoom? Probably Zoom.
It says network connect. I don't know what else to do about that. So
Like your tapestry, Nikki. It's cool.
thank you. It's an antique tapestry. It's really big, actually. Let me show you on this thing right here. Look, I don't know.
Let's see.
Can you see it on here?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Had that for a very long time.
Stop moving
Suzanne, I'm
around so
sorry.
much. People are going to think you're Beth Minardi. Start doing like.
By the way, did anybody watch Beth and Vivian today? I did. It was pretty funny.
I couldn't get in. They had a Zoom room for 100.
How'd Vivian do?
I was in there. Vivian did good. It was funny kind of watching Beth yell at Vivian. It was kind of
It
comical.
was on Salon Owner Mastermind. However, I would stay on Zoom because that's the internet kind of low.
Yeah, you're going to have your best, everybody that's on, you're going to have your best experience on Zoom,
Stay on Zoom.
I think. But Nikki's lagging out.
So just go to Zoom if this is lagging on the Facebook Live. I'm sorry. You want to, James, you want to type in the code for Zoom just in case anybody wants to jump over?
Let me do that again on Facebook. Hold on.
Yeah, James is going to type in so James just typed in the Zoom code. So if anyone would like to jump over to Zoom, just use that number that Oscar typed in there.
Oh, Oscar typed it.
Barb, you're on everything. I know. Just be on both. I don't know. Barb is really getting really good at this.
Gotta tell you,
Don't forget, if you're asked for a password, the password is BBR, like business reset, all capitals.
Oh, it's Gino being on everything. Good job, Gino. Good job,
Barb set it up. Don't believe that. Barb set it up.
Okay, we're going to give 2 more minutes and we're starting.
Zoom is kind of cutting out too, just for me. So I'm just going to talk and then delay when I'm hearing any kind of delay, okay?
You got 2 minutes to put a tinfoil hat on. It actually helps with your reception.
It does. It really makes a difference.
So wait, you got to hear this.
Mouth is right.
So, Beth was
this
teaching
on?
Vivian today. Beth was putting foil in her own hair, and she was on the green screen, and her head was disappearing where she was putting the foil in. It was pretty funny.
It's funny.
Okay, as soon as Nikki's hot flash is over, we'll get started. Okay, we got a pretty good gang in here. Nikki, you ready? And Nikki lagged.
The Zoom is on delay.
There we go. Okay, Nikki, you ready? Okay, perfect. So everybody mute their mics except for Nikki and myself. Perfect. So welcome to tonight's Beauty Business Reset. Tonight we have the pleasure of having Nikki Lee on for the 3rd time. She's going to be going over leadership lessons tonight. We are having some internet problems today just because maybe the storms. I am not sure why, but we're all having a little bit of lag issues. But this will be recorded for you to rewatch if you don't get to see it tonight. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it off to Nikki. Welcome tonight, Nikki, to lesson 3.
Thank you for letting me come back. I really appreciate you guys giving me so much airtime on all of this. So I was really excited about this when I was thinking about the classes that I was going to share with you guys. Leadership is very near and dear to me. I feel that I'm a student of leadership my whole life, basically. I'm going to share with you things that I feel that I've learned. But before we start in the class, I just wanted to share a story about what's going on. And I think that we can all agree that right now, leadership is so critical because we have businesses that are just imploding with employees issues or with unemployment issues or with compensation issues. Everyone is scared. And so being a leader, we have to really stabilize ourselves. That's one thing, right? So, and I want to define a little bit about how I feel leadership is, but then on top of that, I think that I want to approach it from a more structural standpoint for the future. So I'm hoping by the end of this hour and a half with me, that you're going to really have structure to start working on in your business. But I want to just disclaimer this by saying leadership is something that's organic, that grows over time, that becomes a system that you slowly build over time with the right people, and everybody's impact in your leadership team starts to have all of the mix and infusion of personalities and strengths and weaknesses inside all of that. So inside an organization, every organization inside of your life, you will have different levels of leadership here and there. And I know right now, my personal story is that my team is very upset with me because of some failures of leadership that I've had in the past. I haven't been, I felt like I was a strong leader, but I've discovered I have more to learn and I have more to do. And I want to be a heartfelt leader, someone that's a servant leader. I want to develop my leadership strengths to encompass all of the different strengths. And so I'm hoping that we can share with you tonight, Ivan and I, a lot of research that we put together. I am probably going to have to fire a couple of people at the end of this situation. I don't want to. It's not really from a compassionate standpoint. I don't want to do it right now. But I will tell you that in the future, very soon, I'm going to have to make some pretty big decisions about who will get to stay on the team, because crisis brings out the worst in people or the best in people. And I hope that it's bringing out the best in me. And I've seen on my team a couple people that have been a little toxic in the past that I haven't really addressed, slowly just trying to coach them out of it. But I just don't think it can be changed at this point because it's just brought out all the worst. So as I map out our strategy with the loans and getting the loan payments to put people back on compensation and figuring out the forgiveness part of that, forgiveness be damned, I will at this point make a decision very strongly about people who I will choose very carefully to stay on my team to follow. The silver lining of this situation with the coronavirus has, for me, created a strong level of clarity on what I expect from my team. I had it before, but now it's even stronger, and it's even more clear to me what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not willing to tolerate from my team overall. That being said, I want to make sure that I lead with always a servant's heart and compassion, and make sure that I do the best I can for them and make them all whole right now in this very, very scary time where they might not know what to do next. And so I will lead them through that. And I can't tell you, Iva can confirm here, I have been messaging and communicating in ways that I have never done. I mean, just such strong communication, very defined language, very clear. Communication is key to being a strong leader. But I feel like I have been doing that, but I will at this point have to make a decision about the future of my business. So that is my story. And if you guys want to share more of that later, I'll share that later. But let's go ahead and start. Iva, if you want to jump the slide through. I always like to talk about leadership from a perspective of creating more revenue. Not only is leadership designed to be a tool that you use to magnify your brand, leadership from that perspective. So if you want to jump to the next one, I have what is leadership? And I always like to define things before I teach them. To me is a mindset. It's a practical skill, right? So you are practicing this, you are learning this. It's a practical of leading a team or an organization as a motivator, a coach, a manager, a position, a title, a guide, a teacher, a vision. So as a leader, we play so many roles. We play everything, but it's a consciousness. And that's what I really want to know. That it says it's breaking up really bad, guys. So I'm not sure how do you want to address that, but I'm going to just keep talking and try the best that I can to keep going. It says low network connection, but I will keep talking, guys. So sorry if it's cutting in and out. But that is my definition of leadership. And I would like to break into the purpose of leadership first. I'd like to make my case for leadership. A lot of times there's been studies done where they say, well, is leadership necessary in an organization? And, you know, when you lead, is it from a standpoint of just collecting data, coaching, delegating? It's all of those things. But the purpose really is to ignite passion in your team. It's to empathize with what they need. It's to set the bar for excellence. You set the bar in your own business. You create the vision of what you want that to be. You are designed as, when you chose to become a business owner, one of the key purposes is, in my opinion, really to enrich the lives of others. It's to expand your understanding of what it takes to run a business, which we are getting a solid dose of these days, right? It's to evolve the performance of life and in life, not only in your business, but in life. So if you're a leader, you're going to be a leader in every format of your life. You're not only going to be a leader in your business, you're going to be a leader at home, you're going to be a leader with your family, you're going to be a leader with your community, you're going to be a leader with everybody, because leader really is a state of consciousness. It's also developing your instincts, right? It's that gut reaction to when to step up to the plate to lead, like right now, so much. It's to sense and create intuition behind what it is that you're doing. It's the ability to create trust with other people. You are developing a reputation. Every choice you make is put on the judging block. And it's also to form cooperation and to develop that through strong communication. And it's to rally for your team. You know, I've had a young lady that was working with me, and she was the biggest complainer about team. We don't have a team. We don't have a team. You know, in our team, we have 40-something employees, and out of the 40, there's only about 30 producers or revenue producers. The rest are support team. I can't imagine a business that has more team or more rallying around team than that. And I never understood what she meant, but the fact is that she stated, when I would always say, what is your biggest issue during coaching sessions, she would say, we don't have a good team. And I would say, well, I've noticed many situations where you never rallied around your team. So if you want to build the team, the best thing you can do is be on the front line and rally around them and preach and go to them and do for them and serve them. And then they will do that in return. So that to me is the real purpose of leadership. And how that translates to revenue is then you create the structure, which I will share with you. And then from that structure, you're going to set people on a path that's a very clear path for them, so they will get to their goals much faster, and they'll become high producers. Therein lies the higher revenue. So the next slide is going to be living leadership, and this is important to me to share with you. As I've studied leadership, I've understood that there are organizations, and in every organization that you have, your family, your business, your clubs, your memberships, BBR, every single thing that you do, women's groups, which I'm a part of a lot of those, you will either decide to live a state of leadership in those organizations. And we all have life organizations. We have our family units, and we have our friend units, and we have our business structures, and we have our professional collaborations, and our social clubs and our community associations. And in our next slide, I'll explain why that's really important. But as we develop leadership, we're going to develop it in all of those ways. Just like now, you know, my team, one of the things that really hurt me recently in leadership, and yes, you can be hurt in leadership. And my wise coach, Stephen Gomez, said to me, he said, it wouldn't hurt so bad if you didn't care so much. And I've been very emotional for the last few days because of just the team's response to all of my trying to be there for them. And when Stephen said that to me, it created a lot of emotion for me. And what it did was it made me see that I was actually a really good leader. I was doubting my leadership there for a little bit. And when I realized I am a good leader because I do care so much, that's why it hurts so much. And so one of the hurtful things that happened recently is in all the videos that I'm making for the industry, because I'm so scared and worried that our business will suffer greatly, which it probably already has, but I'm trying to minimize that a little bit, is that they were blaming me for not helping them and working too much on these videos and helping other people instead of them. Not all of them, just about 10 of them or so. And some of them also blamed me for trying to be famous and doing things like that versus, seeing it for what it was, which was me giving my heart to the industry. And so it was a leadership moment that kind of flagged me, and it kind of made me go back. And that's why I felt like leadership was going to be such an important topic for me to teach, because I came back to my own lessons, and I'm trying so hard to pull it together. But that being said, the silver lining is that the other parts of the team recognized ugly when they saw it. And I'm going to try to coach them out of it. But again, we'll have to remove that if the time comes. But I think that other people do see it. And so you just have to do what you have to do and give the best of yourself in all of the different organizations of your life. So that comes to the next topic for me, which is the 5 levels of consciousness. And this is how I parent my children. This is how I teach others. This is how I start with coaching my team. So I'm sharing something to you that I use almost every day. So when I learned meditation and I learned consciousness and I understood how deeply connected that was to leadership, it was an awareness of the mind and becoming very aware of the world. And this is something I want you guys to start seeing, because as you're becoming leaders, you are going to start recognizing who in your team you can pull on as a leadership team. So one of the best ways to see that is to start to become aware of your focuses. And I love this lesson because I always come back to this for one reason or another. But that lower level, that small circle, the purple one in the middle of the slide, is me-centric, right? And me-centric means that you have a deficiency of needs. It's, as Stephen Gomez explained to me, low on the scale of needs of, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's that I need to be fed, I need to have money, I need to be clothed, I need to have a home, I need to be safe. Those are our drivers in that level. You're seeing that now. I'm seeing that on my team. About 10 of them are all only focused on me, right? So what is in this for me? What are you going to do for me? What are you going to pay me? What are you going to give me? Why aren't you helping me? So it's all this me centricity. It's like a baby. If you really, I don't know how many of you have ever had the opportunity to watch a baby see themselves for a first time in a mirror, but it's beautiful. And when you show them, they're just like, oh, it's like they become super aware that they're a being in the world, that they are all of a sudden realizing they're an entity. And at a very young age, and as parents, we have to teach our children to continue to grow out of me-centricity. That the child that says, mine, it's my toy, he's touching me, and my scissors, and my chair, and my this. If you have a team that doesn't like to share stations or share space or share education or share knowledge, they are very me-centric. These are not the people that you want to create leadership around, even if they're a top producer. Me-centric doesn't mean that they're not successful financially or successful financially. It just means that if they have a default, the default is to go to what they need first in any type of situation, most especially a high crisis type of situation. When I was raising my children, a fun story to share with you guys is my oldest is a little me-centric still. I'm trying to push him out of that. But he would go to the pool and I would buy him all these cool pool tools, toys. And then other kids would come over and try to take the toys. And he would always say, Mom, I don't want to take my toys. And it made me see, wow, it happened a couple times. And I thought, you know what? I've got to change how this goes. I said to him, just give him the toy. Give him the toy. I'll get you a new toy later. It's just toys. That's a thing. It doesn't matter. You're missing the point. The point is the interaction. So remember in my last class, I explained that when a new person comes in, you have to welcome them onto your team. It's part of leadership, really, because if you allow your team to be like, well, if you're hiring them, then what's going to happen to me? Are you going to cut me out? Am I going to lose clients? Am I going to lose my station? Am I going to make less money? It's all of this me-centric type of thinking. So I want to push people out of that and get them thinking about it. So I told Gavin, I said, you have to just give them the toy. The toy doesn't matter. What matters is that you miss the opportunity to make a friend with that kid who is wanting to play with you. So you got to come out of that, dude. The toy doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. I'll get that later. And so it's the same with your team. Share with them. You're missing the point of the interaction. When a new person comes in, it's a new team member. They're relying on you to welcome them and bring them in. It's very similar. This relates to every component of life. Now, when you are outside of me-centric and you decide to grow, any good friend or any strong leader or any person teaching you, whether that be John Maxwell coaching or anything, will always go, you have to work on the self. And self-centric is the next level. It's like expanding your influence, expanding your bubble, but the bubble and the influence is only to yourself. So for example, if you have a bad boyfriend that breaks up with you, right? And that boyfriend, you know, your friend, if you have the friend that goes, let's key his car because he cheated on you, you know, that's not necessarily the best advice. The best advice would say, hey, I think it's best for you to work on yourself, to go work out, to learn, to go to school, to work, to practice working on yourself, personal development. And that is going to be the key. So someone who's self-centric is deciding to experience self-discovery. They're going to choose independence instead of being dependent and asking for others and demanding of others. They're going to define their own identities. They're going to let go of familial and cultural markers that set, you know, requirements on them. Why is it all the bad boyfriend? It could be a bad girlfriend too, Gino. You know, it begins, you begin to experience something that, you know, you all heard of this statement, the attitude for gratitude. And the moment the attitude for gratitude starts, the world opens up to allow happiness in and joy. And because you no longer worry about others bringing it to you, you realize that you're developing it within yourself to share with the world and bring good to the world. One of the biggest things I say to my sons every morning before they go to school is, what good are you going to do? You're going to do it for? You know, I'm teaching them leadership and doing that. And so you can ask your team to do this as well as ask them. All right, so then once they develop themselves, they work through a personal development, which I'll share a slide with you at the end of how to teach others to start the process of personal development. Then you decide to go to group centricity. Group centricity is to look at the groups around you. Remember those organizations of life, your family unit, your clubs, your membership, your friends, your BBR, your anything like that. That's going to be where we bring in the idea of serving others from a very small standpoint. So we're expanding our influence. We're expanding what we've learned about ourselves and self-discovery in lieu of just worried about ourselves and demanding from others. And it's like that saying where you're like, don't be a victim, don't have the victim mentality. It's the same sort of thing. You change your frequency of operation. You don't operate from a bouncy, jostly, I'm always getting into a car accident, my grandma died 15 times, my basement flooded 82 times. You know, it's all of this. Instead, it's streamlining your purpose in life to focus on working on yourself. And then you choose to serve others and refine your thinking. Instead of being so unstable, you refine it to just a very low hum that you're operating at. And I love that when I studied Eckhart Tolle or any kind of Buddhism and meditation, it really taught me quite a bit. But part of becoming group-centric is to develop a meaning in your purpose. So to find your purpose is going to be critical at this stage. And your influence may be just your small groups, but eventually what happens when you develop leadership in yourself is your influence becomes bigger and bigger. And then we move to the next level, which is community-centric. And you choose then to serve a much larger group of people. You create social alignments like we've been doing on BBR. You search for like-minded individuals. You pull together with people who have the same core beliefs. You share principles and values. And you eliminate people from your groups that are tightest to you because they just don't follow the same like-mindedness. We start to expand our influence bigger and enhance our communities all around us just because it's meaningful to us and because the sense of accomplishment and our level of excellence must be reached because we can't live any other way. And that is where leadership really begins to develop inside of your heart and your mind and your soul. And then that's that last level where that level of influence becomes world-centric. You think about the world and everything that you do. You think about the industry at large. You think about how you can help versus what you get for yourself. And that, to me, guys, is the 5 levels of consciousness. And if you watch your team carefully, watch what level they're at and the things that they're doing on your team, you will see who is becoming more consciously aware of serving others and becoming part of the leadership team in your company. And in that regard, share with them more responsibilities, more benefits, and all of that. They serve a purpose to empower others. And that is how you really truly find leaders on your team. So if you want to move to the next slide, Iva, I won't talk any about consciousness anymore. The next slide is basically a picture. I won't spend too much time on this, but how many of you right now are sitting at home with all of your pads? Remember, Gina and I talked about pads. And inside your pads, this is why I created these pad concepts, because really it's about organizing what you need to do. For a creative mindset, for us to truly be effective behind what we do, we have to have a purpose, and then we have to get organized. And so this is a slide that just depicts all of your ideas and all of your tasks and all of your responsibilities that you have to do. But what I want you to do is I want you to make them more like this. So Iva, if you want to jump to the next one. This is a slide that we use, and click it a couple more times, Iva. This is how I like to approach coaching for you guys. And this is basically that pad concept, but in a slide form. So we've broken down a salon into 18 systems, 7 zones to create sustainability in your business. This applies to everybody. It doesn't apply to only people with employees. It can apply to you by yourself as well. Because eventually, even if you're by yourself, you're eventually going to have to magnify and grow. And if you magnify and grow, it's going to be by adding people. Remember, growing a business, more people, more money, more people, the bigger your business gets. That's how you scale a service-based business, which is what we are. And so we want to be organized about that. And so developing systems, there is a method, oh my God, I can't even say it. There's a method to the madness of building the systems inside your business. And so at the bottom of the slide, you'll see all of these systems that we've identified that you can start building and growing inside of your business. Now, the 7 zones is going to be, we've tracked it and we teach this as well, is from standpoint of front desk area, your office, your service platform, your back bar, your break room, and your marketing teams or your marketing platform. All of that is your zones. And what do you do inside each zone? I'm going to compare it to this. How many of you teach haircutting? When you teach haircutting, what do you do first? You teach them how to section, right? And why do we teach them how to section? It's because they can't address a haircut all at one time if you're trying to teach them how to do a haircut. So how I'm teaching you guys how to do and run a business and organize your business and systemize it, it's to section out your business. And this is an example of what that means. A lot of stylists say to me, I don't use sections. And I would say, that's okay. You don't have to use sections to cut a head of hair. But now, Vidal Sassoon would probably roll over in his grave, and those of you that have practiced that would probably throw me to the dogs for saying that. But if you are super advanced and you've cut that head of hair 8 million times, you don't necessarily have to section. It's because sectioning is like the GPS, right? So if I say I'm going to drive to Pennsylvania to visit you, I need to put it on my GPS. I need to know, turn right, go left, go here, go there. And that direction sheet or that GPS helps me stay organized and get me to where I need to be. Now, if I don't have that GPS, I would be all over the place and I would kind of get lost. A lot of you are in that position right now, not because you're not smart or because you're not organized, because you probably are. But unless we really focus on developing strong structure by doing it this way, I think it's incredibly difficult to have the GPS. So this slide, guys, is your GPS. And so the 4 categories for the 18 systems and the 7 zones would be your space first. So all the things about your space, you need high functionality, high revenue, and that's going to be the design, the environment, the functionality, the brand image, the vision, and your inventory. Your team is the next category, the hiring process, the training system, the career ladder, the needs, their needs and wants, your teams, their environments, how well does that work for them and how happy are they in that, their performance, the metrics, you have to know that, the leadership behind it and who is leading those teams and are you identifying those teams. The reason I'm breaking that down for you is because in any sort of coaching relationship, I have to define for you guys what the work will be and how long that may take. And that's giving you guys the idea. So I have to share with you your section guide for your haircut or running your business. And this is what this is. Then your GEX is going to be the guest experience, the policies and procedures, what we talked about, the promotions, the marketing strategy, the pricing, the retention, and the client traffic, new and existing. So we have to know how to take care of our guests. So the team would be the employee experience, the guest or the GEX would be the guest experience. And then the financial strength, because at the end of the day, if you're a business owner, your number one responsibility is to keep your business strong financially and to continue to grow it financially so that you can grow everybody else financially, because isn't that the purpose of working anyway? But you got to be happy too. So you got to make money and then you got to be happy too. So that's what that slide is really about. And I just like to share that because as a leader, if you have the map in front of you, if you're the teacher teaching haircuts, you have to learn how to section it first, and then you can empower your team to do the same thing. So if you're going to teach your team how to function in your business, you have to know how to function inside your business yourself in a very, very organized way. Okay,
Hey,
next
Nikki,
slide.
before you go to your next slide, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we're having some issues with Facebook Live tonight, linking to Zoom. So I know everybody that's on Facebook is just seeing Nikki's passion in her face, which I feel like I've seen Nikki's face every morning because she does so many fantastic videos. But when everything's done, and you can go on YouTube and subscribe to Salon Ops, and you'll be able to get these slides. Nikki, I'm sure, will make them available afterwards. So we appreciate you just seeing Nikki's face, because I'm watching her face on one screen, and her face and her expression and her passion is so much. The slides are fantastic, but her face, you could tell how much. So just please bear with us. We're trying our best tonight. And I'm sorry, Nikki, just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
It's okay. I will share all of these for you guys. The video will be back on YouTube for you guys to watch the rewatch. But more importantly, Gino and Ivan and I are going to be putting on a leadership conference in January. We wanted it to be a 2-day intensive workshop. At first, I was pushing for 3 days because I really believe that we need 3 days of leadership training and workshops to actually do all of the work that I'm talking about here, to actually build it and create it inside your business so you can go home with the right things. But considering all of the COVID-19 and everything that's happening, we don't know if we'll be able to have that in a venue like a hotel. However, regardless, Gino and Ivan and I have talked about it, and we will do it either in some format like this online. So we are going to create videos. We'll share them with you guys. There'll be an online class for it, and we will make sure that you guys get all of this. This is just a taste of our leadership. I'm giving you guys 45 slides tonight, by the way, guys, if we get through that. But just these 45 slides are out of probably 300 slides that I have for a leadership course and leadership workshop conference for you guys. So please stay in touch with me about that. Leadership is my baby, and it's my passion. So I believe that if I can empower salon owners to lead this industry better, this industry will be stronger for it. I really believe that. And Gino does too. So, okay. All right. So the next slide is going to be called the Salon Owner Success System. Slide to me because it helps me teach business owners how to look at their business from a really big picture standpoint. So lost in the muck of things that we feel so lost in the disastrous daily operations of things that we can't see our business with new eyes. And I want to give you rose-colored glasses to see your business differently tonight. If there's anything that happens from this evening's class, it would be that. It would be me making sure you guys, when you go back tomorrow or the next few months and look at your business, you can see it with beautiful vision, that you can see it exactly operating, and don't be so hard on yourself. And know that sometimes things just go awry, but if you put things back into the path and the structure, you're gonna be just fine. So sometimes we fail, you know, and at the end, I won't read it here, I won't waste your time with that, but I shared on my from Teddy Roosevelt, and it was in the arena, and it's my favorite quote of all times. And it basically says, I'll just sum it up for you. It's not the person standing on the sideline judging, but it's the one that is in the arena marred with dust and sweat and blood, getting it done, that gets it done. That's the key. So let them judge, let them be difficult, let them be tough. You just do your work, and you got to do what you got to do. And fail sometimes too, it's okay. And Brene Brown does a beautiful job talking about that too. She's a huge favorite of mine. So I get it, but let's review this slide, okay? So if you look in the middle of the slide, it says you. No, not back, go back, Iva, I'm sorry, go back, Iva. Sorry. Iva, can you go back one? Back to the, no, back towards the, sorry. I'm going to keep talking, but in the middle of the slide, it's a Salon or Success System slide, Iva. You in leadership, and that is going to be in the center. The other way, Iva, you're going forward. You got to go back. One right before that one. Yep, that one. Okay, thanks. All right, so you in the middle, that's why you need to stay stable and centered. You hold all of these pieces together. So the most important thing, in my opinion, is your financial strength. Stephen Gomez is brilliant at this. Derek Hull is brilliant at this. I can definitely coach you on this, but there's other coaches that are much better at it. But it's learning very simply to teach someone that doesn't understand anything about accounting or financial ability to have an understanding of the finances in a very simple way. And I'm going to simplify it for you guys. Okay, so your financial strategy is two things. It's cash in and cash out. Cash in are four major components in your business. It's more, but four major components of making money. It's the demand that you create for your business. It's the services that you provide and what you in offering that, and the skill level that it's at. The retail is a separate revenue stream. It's not the same thing as the service revenue stream. So service revenue stream, and it's like your two legs. So one leg is a service revenue stream and one leg is the retail revenue stream. And so how strong are those legs? And if you cut one off, you're standing on one leg. And so you got to make sure that you're strong on both sides so that you can stand strong inside your business and then create a lot of financial strength. And then pricing would be the last part, or one of the critical parts. And this is why I focus on pricing so much. And there's a lot of self-worth and a lot of, issues about that kind of stuff and emotion around that. I teach pricing from a very non-emotional standpoint. But you have to have a strategy around your pricing, because if you don't, you're not collecting revenue the way that you should. Financial strategy on the removal side, on the cash out side, is going to be your labor cost. That's your biggest cost in a labor intensive business, your service-based good, or you're selling service-based goods. Your cost of goods, this is going to be something important. This is why those of you that have applied for EIDL loans have had to be asked that, because it's probably your secondary or second largest expense outside of labor and payroll. Overhead would be your expenses and all of that, and then your taxes. And a lot of owners aren't doing taxes correctly or compliantly in the business. And so we need to make sure that we are being aware of what's compliant in all the tax formats, and having some coaching to help you with that would be good too. And a lot of business owners get in trouble and in hot water over those over that one tax expense. So just be aware of that. All right, so then to the left, this side is, no, not yet, Iva, not yet. Sorry. Go back. To the left of that slide is the GEX. That's the guest experience. The key components there are marketing strategy around getting your clients in the door, new clients, existing clients, training systems around training your clients to have buying behavior, and all of your team to be trained to deliver an amazing guest experience. That takes leadership, and that's how it drives revenue. Number 3 is new guest traffic, and how are you doing that with marketing? Existing, and Derek Hall, by the way, has a brilliant, brilliant marketing tool and platform for you guys. Number 4 is existing guests. How are you taking care of them? And then in the existing guest, your VIPs. That's the guest experience. And then the employee experience is going to be to recruit, the hiring process, which we discussed, the career ladder, which we discussed, the training systems, which we discussed already, and then your pay structures and compensation, which has to be about a 2-month class in itself. So part of our leadership course and our Salon Owner Business Symposium, so we have 3 major, Gino, Ivan, and I have 3 major events coming up. One September 13th and 14th called Salon Owner Business Symposium. That will be on all of this, taught in detail. And then also the Mentor Masters in November, and then in January, the leadership. So in the employee experience, we will talk and we will do a workshop in those workshops to create compensation scales for you guys. I approach compensation a little differently, but we won't get into that tonight. And then the last component is the 4 levels of leadership, which we'll be discussing tonight, which is your leadership training units, your leadership interfacing, your leadership principles, and your leadership application. So now, Iva, you can dive to the next slide. Thanks, Iva, for doing that. I was trying to get Zoom on my computer all day and I couldn't get it. So she's doing this for me. All right. The next one is called the 3-year strategic storyboard. It looks daunting, I know. However, let me just simplify this for you. In any coaching plan, Stephen, Derek, all of you coaches on here, would you guys agree with me that we have to keep our people that we're coaching, right? Our students or our beloved business owners on a path. And this is the path. And we have to determine what are your biggest priorities. And then we have to categorize it into time so that we can hold everyone accountable. Ourselves, yourselves, your business, your team, your metrics, all of it. And so in this 3-year strategic storyboard, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you a much more methodical approach to running your business. Each one of these items that I listed in a paragraph for you is what we call a project. And that project could be changing prices, or build a compensation plan, or build leadership team, or create a training system, or all of those 18 systems that we talked about on the previous slide as a project. You develop a system of project integration, and then you break it down into quarters. Meaning, a lot of times, and coaches can share this with you, I hear all the time, I'm overwhelmed, I can't get it all done, shit. So what I would suggest that you do is break it into small segments and to approach one thing at a time, complete it, finish it, move on, and then track it so that you can see the success of it at the end of year 1. And then you have your next 4 projects. And then at the end of the year 2, you track all of those. And then you create 4 new projects or 10 new projects. And then you track it by the end of year 3. So now by the end of year 3, you've hit a targeted goal of having all of these projects integrated, done, and complete. And so that's basically what this slide is. It just shows you how to approach your business and working on things from that pad standpoint, right? And so each paragraph in each quarter is nothing more than just another pad, a launching pad, so to speak, just like I was explaining before. You want to jump to the next? All right. So leadership infrastructure. These are the 4 components, and then I'm going to run through this with you guys, but I believe leadership is very much organically built in levels. And so this slide, if I could say anything at all, it would be this. It would be develop your HR system. So I'm teaching you guys tonight, more than anything else, how to build an HR system. And in salons, we don't build HR systems. We instead just operate every day behind the curve, trying so much to figure out what we're doing day to day and then putting out fires versus setting up everything for success. And so this is very important to me because I feel like we can explain HR system to you as I've studied HR so that we can get into developing a beautiful way to take care of and nurture your biggest asset so that they are producing at a much higher level over time with really beautiful, heartfelt leadership. And so, Iva, if you want to jump to the next slide, this is the first one called leadership training units. And so in HR or human resource, as we study it, these are going to be the key components. And this is what you will be training your leadership team on. And this is why you have to have documentation. Before you start any leadership structure, I would tell you, you need to have a digital form. To do it on Google Docs. It's a free program. I don't know if it's free, maybe it's $20 or $30. But it's a wonderful digital platform performance. When you teach all these components, you can actually do these things as a department. They're working in these departments. They're going to come back to you. Remember, you're the head. And then the head is like spread out into these other departments, and those departments take care of the teams below them. It's very much a hierarchy, and that's how leadership play with you. The first is going to be human resource.
You will have a leader in your business, and will eventually you're going to grow your business. Evaluate and assess what
Independent. Do you want to stay independent, or do you want to grow a team? Do you want to get a storefront? Do you want to build a bigger business? Do you want to hire more people? What do you want to do for the industry? What do you want to do for yourself? It's all of those things. And as you grow your people, one person at a time, you have to build these training units all yourself. The one thing I want to share with you is that as a leader, you will never successfully do everything yourself. You must have other people helping you to do all of these things. So in human resources, it's your policies, your procedures, which is why we shared that on the Zone training program. It's time and attendance, it's reporting, it's demographics and compensation, it's performance management and the metrics and the benefit management, meaning if you have any benefit packages, which I have a very large benefit package. And as you incentivize your teams in the future, you'll have to develop a benefit package as well. And then the communications is going to be a whole nother full-time job. That's going to be for another leader. You're going to, this is where you're going to be coaching in coaching sessions, one-on-one staff meetings, messaging, constant messaging, online booking, social media, contacts, contracts, written media, delegation techniques, praise moments, digital emails, text, memo, paychecks, everything that you are doing to communicate with your team so that they see everything in a very transparent way. I want you to see the business like you're the bus driver, right? So you're all on a bus. That bus is called Statements the Salon, or whatever your salon is called. You're driving it, you're the driver, right? No one else is driving that bus but you. And so right behind you, you can't see what that team wants. That team is back there and they're goofing around, or they're hot, or they're hungry, or they got to take a potty break, or whatever that is. They have to tell you, but you can't be in charge of that because you're driving. You got to keep your eyes on the road, and you got to make decisions. Like, am I going right? Am I going left? Am I stopping? Am I turning up the heat? Am I turning on AC/DC? Am I going to turn on classic rock? I mean, what are you doing? And so that, as a leader, you're making big decisions like that. You need the leadership team behind you sitting there, making sure that they're asking the team what they want, hence the HR departments, and then telling you what you need to do so that you're a much more effective leader. That is how important communications is in your company. Financial literacy, this is somebody who's like a bookkeeper, accounting workflow, basic accounting procedures, and teaching that. Time management, very important, but I won't dive into that too much. Schedules, working on scheduling, working on deadlines, working on time policies, priority list contracts. Project goal integration, these are the people that are driving forward the projects in your business, which is you right now, but you need to remove that project or that responsibility onto someone else. And then quality control, which is by far, in my opinion, one of the most important things. And that's why I'm very structural in the way I do things, okay? All right. And so in this, the first thing as a leader, what I would tell you is follow 168-hour theory. I'm going to share this video tomorrow with you guys all over social media. It's about an hour long, and it just teaches you about 168 hours that you have a week that you're alive. And then if you sleep 56 hours, which we call restorative, it means putting the oxygen on you so that you're more powerful and you can do the right task per week. And then income producing is the career. And when I goal set or I coach, I use this. I ask them to create their master schedule first, because to me, somebody asked me, what is success? What's the definition of success? There's so many of them. But for me, I would say at the base level, the first level of success would be scheduling. Meaning the more you schedule things and the more you accomplish them, that's success. And so as long as you get shit accomplished all day long, then you're successful. And so master your schedule first, become a master of that. Your career, 40 hours, 35 hours, I don't know, whatever, that's producing revenue to support the rest of your life. Educational, intellectual, what are you doing to grow yourself? That's 12 hours a week, 10 hours a week, something like that, which means an hour or two a day, which you guys have been doing a lot of, by the way. Personal and emotional, which means that this is for yourself and for your family. You spend 60 hours a week really giving back to them. So if you structure everything in this way, and then you create this pie of your life and what you want to do with it, and then you itemize certain time frames towards it, things will get done. And so that's the importance of the master schedule. So before you get into any sort of leadership structure, you got to deal with that. The next slide, I'm not going to spend too much time on, but it's when I'm training leaders in my business or in other businesses, I actually really want to work on their time management. Iva teaches a beautiful class on time management, and she really can teach this, because to be a very effective leader, you are going to utilize your time properly. And so I'm going to
assess their ability to use time, and then I'm going to teach them how to be more effective with their time, to optimize time, right? So not necessarily manage your time, but to optimize your time. And then how do we do that in those types of styles? So that's really what I just wanted to show you that slide, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. Hence I have 45 slides to share with you. I'll focus on a few key ones. The next slide is leadership day starters. This is going to be a wonderful tool for you as a leader to be very tactical. There it is, Derek. I use the tactical word. And so coming from a military type of mindset, you have 30 minutes to 1 hour the first part of your day. When you get there, you either start it early or you start it when you get there. But you need to do a couple of key things first when you start your day as a leader. Training yourself to be a stronger leader is training yourself how to manage the start of the day, because you're setting your day up for success then instead of playing catch up on it. Some of the items, now you can change it. You can use this or you can change it. You can make your leadership day starter task list different. But every leader in my business will have a different day starter task list. Like and I'm habitual about texting them these things. So, I'll text Iva at like 3 a.m. These are the 5 items I need you to do. So that's the leadership day starter, which means that you need to get that out of the way. And so you can read that. I'm not going to sit there and read it to you, but you can go back to get that. But basically it's the list that I want that person to do. Now I'm going to change it. Maybe my personnel manager might have a different list. My financial manager might have a different list. My human resource manager might have a different list. So everyone has a different list about how to start their day off so it's most effective. And then the next slide is going to be called sample of a task list. This is just a blank form that you can copy and paste and use as I share it with you guys. I've created some key tasks. Now this again can change, flex. You're gonna recreate these task lists. And task lists are more than just writing a hand note and going, hey, get that shit done. It's really to have a structure around what you want to do first versus last and the resolution you want from it, and then holding them accountable to finishing and completing the task. Instead of saying, hey, did you ever get that done 2 weeks? To hold them accountable to what the resolution was. Some of these things could be, has a preset which is very important for leadership roles. You need to create task lists. The opening shift has been open, completed. The drawer has been counted. Have messages been checked? Have you checked online booking? Have you checked guest schedules? Review? Have you tightened it down? Have all promotions in process? Yesterday, you've done 5 praise phone notification people the next day. Right, is Iva tomorrow for the great or whatever that was. So again, figure out how to praise. Praise is going to be really important for leadership. Have all vacation time off holiday requests been processed? Have all inventory been ordered in stock today? Has maintenance, on and on and on. I won't read it, but at the bottom, it says 1 through 10. Those numbers mean that you are assessing and assigning a level of importance to that task, which means that if for today I want this to be done first because yesterday we had some issue, then I'll make sure I keep that. You save these forms, you download it into your digital files, and then now all of a sudden the team is being documented and tracked and kept accountable to every single thing. You don't have to do it. This is just, when the larger you get, the more you'll have this issue. If you have somebody that is really good at doing things, but yet they struggle with getting things completed, this is a perfect way to coach them around that. And so that's just what that tool is. All right, so the process of project integration, I don't want to spend too much time on this with you guys. This is probably a couple of hour class in itself, but I wanted to share the slide with you guys. Why is it important? Project integration is the strategic process of building the systems, brand policies, and procedures, and to have the collection of projects and hold everyone accountable to finishing it. Why is it important? It's because it's the forward movement of your business. A lot of us, if we don't do that and push through, we won't be able to finish what we need to do unless we hold ourselves accountable to it. So the next slide is basically a planning coaching tool that I use
to coach leadership teams to teach them how to be more effective behind what they do. So this is something I use to coach leadership teams in your business. When I'm working with your leaders, a talk committee, who's on the initiation, who's on the training, who's on the tracking, documenting, who's on the closure and the follow-up. And so all of these key components and all these items in there, I know it looks daunting, the slide looks daunting, but it's a working tool, it's a coaching tool. So again, it would take me an hour to explain that to you. But when you hire a real leadership coach to come into your business, what really happens is that we have work to do, and then itemizing each category helps everyone have a firmer understanding and a more organized perspective to how leadership is done. And so that's the first level of leadership, okay? The second is leadership interface. Everybody need any questions or anything before I go on? Okay. We good, James?
Yeah, everybody's entrenched in what you're saying, so no major questions yet.
Okay, good.
And I'm not going to ask you any because I'll just forget it. I'll ruin. I'm going to text you as you're on right now.
Okay. The second level of leadership is leadership interface. This is how you teach someone to interface with someone. Simon Sinek said it best when he described what leadership really was. He told a story, which I love this story. He shared how he was in Caesar's palace. Is that what it's called? I never go to Las Vegas. The Caesar's Palace, and he was in a Starbucks, and he was talking to this guy, and this guy like nailed it. He was so good at his job. He was like, wow, dude, you're really, really good at your job. And he says, yeah, I have a great team here and I love my work. And he goes, why? He goes, oh, the leadership is amazing. He asked them why. And this man, he said, well, every 15, 20 minutes, people are like, hey, the leadership team, what can I do for you? How can I help? They give off a great physical vibe. They write little notes. It's like they're really good at interfacing for leadership at this place, at the Starbucks in Caesar's Palace. He goes, yeah, and so, but I can't quit the other job, which I have with whatever casino that was. He said that they don't care anything about them. There's no interfacing going on. So leaders hide. They hide behind their phones. They hide behind the back room. They hide in their office. They hide everywhere. There's zero interfacing. And so how do you teach someone to interface? I break it down into 6 key areas. Psychological, teaching someone how to have a psychological approach to leadership and all of those different things around it. Guys, that would take probably a couple weeks of teaching. Physical, this is very simple. This is just your physical approach, how you walk around, how you connect, your physical vibe. Are you encouraging, your tone, your eye contact, all of those beautiful things. Are you quiet and confident? Are you fun and humorous? Are you strong and powerful? What is your physical vibe and how do you share that with the team? And do you chameleon that to certain people because they respond better to certain types of physical vibes? That's really important that you do. And it's also the positions and titles too. And so I'll break those titles down to you and the task list near the end of the class. Written is going to be important. These are your handwritten files, your documentation, your team contracts, your annual education calendar, your to-do list, and your task list, which I shared with you earlier. Do you do that well, and do you stay on top of yourself and accountable to that? Verbal skill, teaching someone to talk, teaching someone to delegate, teaching someone to praise, teaching someone to have transformative conversations. What does that look like? Are you listening? Are you really hearing them? And do you care enough with the heart to help them? And then the digital format, which is super important because that's really keeping everything tied together for you so that you can be away from your business and you can let other leaders use the digital formats to keep you in the loop. And then the living part of it, which is your family units and your business and your team building and your motivation and your inspiration, and it's defining success for your life and your career, and it's the culture. So the living part of it is the culture of your business for leadership. Super important. So that's the interfacing that we work on, and that takes a couple of months to train a leadership team to really do that, in my opinion. Some teams work a little faster and learn a little faster and adopt a little faster. They're early adopters, and then some are really resistant to the concept. So we just got to work through that and break down their objectives. Personality types. This is understanding fluid leadership, which I'll touch on, which I touched on earlier, which is that skill to chameleon your leadership style. Or do you just act the same to everybody? Or can you change and alter what you do in order to respond to that person individually a little bit more effectively? This is a lot of fun. Gino's brilliant at this. He does a lot of personality types.
one of the best things you can do with your team is to do personality types and just study that and to teach your team that, or your leadership team that, so that they know, oh, this person, again, don't judge them harshly. I'm saying to develop, are they dreamers? Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Are they intuitive? Are they analytical? You're going to address each one of them differently. And you're going to teach your leadership team how to do that. And our course will help you define what that is and how to teach them. We'll skip over the next slide, which is your physical vibe, because I already explained that to you. And then we're going to go, I have a right to developing delegation. Gino has taught me this. This is something that I'm going to give him full credit for, because what it taught me is how to delegate properly. I think from a day-to-day operational standpoint, your ability to delegate very effectively will either engage your team or it won't. And so to prepare your team to learn to delegate, delegation is a skill. Delegation isn't a guesswork. It's not just like, oh, hey, I'm making you the manager. I'm going to give you a key. I'm going to pay you a little bit more, and then you just be managed so I can get the hell out of here. That's really not what leadership is. Delegation is to practice, but more importantly, to practice delegation, if you jump to the next slide, it is truly to develop dialogue around delegation. So as the brand leader will express to your leadership team what you want them to say per topic. And so if you have 20 scenarios broken down, you can create, so you'll see on my slide, a scenario. A maintenance task needs to be done. Consider who is available for the task. Consider who is helping them at this point. Dialogue. How much time do you have at this moment? Please help for the next 5 minutes on this task, then move to the next task. Thank you for helping so much. Great job. We appreciate you. Do you need any help at all with anything? That is a prepped, preset, pre-designed dialogue for delegation to go into certain situations instead of allowing someone else. Now, I'm not saying you can't put in your own voice. I'm saying as a brand and your company, what you're going to do is you're going to teach how you want them to delegate. You're going to prepare that information and that dialogue ahead of time. You're going to put that into a manual and book and teach your leadership team. You're going to help them share with each other and collaborate with them to show you what that process looks like. The preliminary process of that is going to determine what's unrealistic and what's realistic. Be realistic about what your team can do, guys. Don't ask them to do the impossible if you're not willing to do it yourself. Sun Tzu said this in The Art of War. He said, if you are the general and you are not willing to be on the front line and do it with your team or your troops, you'll never get them to do it anyway. And so that is really important part of delegation. Then you have to go into the method of it and then the philosophy behind your delegation and what you want out of it. What are the solutions that you want out of your leadership and go into that. So I will go ahead and jump to the next slide. I know I'm talking fast. I just have so much to cover with you guys. So forgive me for doing that. All right. The next one is to convert your language to positive. If this isn't necessary for everybody, this is necessary for people who tend to go to the negative side of things in language. So just learn to recognize that. We don't spend too much time on this, but this is a slide and a video that we've made to teach me like that. Don't be late. Don't think you know everything. These are instead, right, Gino? There's something, a family language, right? So if you belong in a family, how many of you have dated someone new and then brought them into your family and you warned them ahead of time in your car and you're like, listen, dude, my family's crazy, right? So if you get in there, there's gonna be all these weird things happening, just ignore it, just ignore it. Well, what you're doing is you're prepping this new person to enter the culture of your family and prepping them on what that language or that ectologue or that family language is like. One of the best things you can do for your team to start leadership is to create an ectologue, a family language, starting with the pricing, the services, the positive language and responsive to each other, delegation language, and interfacing. So very, very important. We can break it way down even further, guys, than this, but I won't spend too much time on this because I think you guys get the point that we have to change and alter the way we do our language and make that part of our family language. The next level of leadership, Nikki Lee, how many hours a week should, what does he say, an owner work 75? You know, Christopher, I might be the wrong person to ask that question, because I believe that you optimize your time and you do whatever you have to do whenever you have to do it. Part of being an entrepreneur is that you're willing to accept a lot of the responsibilities and work a lot harder than everybody else in order to have the paybacks back in the end. To be really effective, I would say you need to delegate leadership about 10 hours a week effectively. If that's inside your 40 hours or outside of your 40 hours, that will be up to you. Leadership principles is the next level, guys, which is the who, what, why, when, where, how of your leadership. This is very intense. Again, I'm going to pass that over just a little bit, but let me get into the next slide with you guys. As we train leadership, I asked you what your leadership principles are. Your who's, your what's, your why's, how's, when's. And so then I can take all that information and then build your leadership structure to be customized to you and what you need. All right, have another hot flash, guys. Hold on. Okay, so as you're looking for leaders, you're going to look for traits. And these are the traits. They need to have strong influence on others. In a bad or good way, if it's bad, you have to remove them. They'll become a cult leader. If they're strong influencers and they're good and representing your brand, that's who you make a leader. They have vision for improvement. They have a natural ability to serve others. They're empathetic. They have a strong level of empathy. They're creative, they're innovative, they are humble, they're grateful, they're positive, they're quietly strong, they don't gossip, they don't buy into that. They tend to be more logical than emotionally unstable. People who are emotionally unstable, I'm not saying anything's bad with being emotionally unstable or up and down, I'm just saying they're able to control that. They've practiced the ability to control their emotions just a little bit better than maybe the other. They're thorough, but yet they're adaptable. They can change on a dime and they can be like, hey, let's change this. Let's go with this. You know, let's try it. And they're fearless about trying new things. They have strong communication skills, or they're willing to learn strong communication skills. They empower others as a natural default. They like taking risk because leaders have to be a little fearless. You know, there's a lot of punishment that comes along with with leadership. And so they have to be risk takers and able to take the hits. Focused on improvements, so they're looking for always a solution. They're altruistic, they give a lot. They lead by example naturally. Whether they like it or not, they do. They're accountable, so when you ask them something, they are completely accountable to it. And then they're goal-oriented, and they always look to see what is the next goal. So when you are starting to see someone that's looking like that, or have some of them, grow those other skills inside of them. And that's what this class and this course is really about. The next slide is going to be the roles of a leader. So one of the best things that one of the key things that you can do now while you're off and doing some time is to identify what some roles are in your business that you're doing right now as a leader, that you can maybe pass off to others and help so that you're not so stressed out behind the chair and you can work maybe behind the chair and make money, or you can do more leadership, or you can do more coaching, or you can do more something else, whatever that may be. But let's identify some of those roles. You could be a skill expert. You could be a delegator. So somebody just monitor and write and track and delegate constantly. A trainer or educator, which is different than a skill expert. A skill expert is somebody who teaches just one skill. A trainer educator is somebody who becomes somebody who teaches a lot of things in your business and trains constantly and has a full-time sort of position around their other positions. A documenter, somebody who just does nothing but documents, right? That's somebody more operational. A planner or a thinker, innovator, somebody who creates new ideas. And empower. An architect. An architect, I like this because an architect is somebody who really decides that they want to create new structure for your business. They're like, hey, let me do that. Let me create that new project. Let me build that out for you. And that's somebody who's really good in a leadership position. Task manager, somebody who's a shepherd, a mama. I'm like a mama bear, you know, let me just come in and let me take care of everybody. Somebody like that's a nice leader too. And maybe their job is nothing more than just to nurture and take care of your younger team. A doer, somebody who just does, right? Brand champion. I actually pay people to champion my brands. That's part of the leadership task team requirements. And a protector, somebody who protects always, meaning if there's a disgruntled client, this person jumps right in and goes, I'll take care of it. What seems to be the issue? Let me solve this for you. Don't worry. I'm going to fix this. You're okay. And that nurture side comes out. These are some of the roles of a leader in a business that's like a salon. All right. How you know when you're ready to lead.
There's two parts that I think that are really critical to leadership, which is the two halves of the whole leadership, is what I was saying in my post. One side is IQ, one side is EQ. Intellectual intelligence is strong communication ability, diverse skills, gets along well with others, see the good in things. They give detailed feedback. They understand the topic. They can teach things inside and out. They are well read. They're well versed. They have strong levels of expertise. They're well spoken. They are a master delegator. They have learned and mastered that, and they're not afraid to delegate. So some people are afraid to delegate in the beginning. Those might not be your delegators just yet, but they could develop the skill. Or they're just maybe task-oriented. They just get things done. Iva, super task-oriented person. She is very time optimized. She has strong communication skills. She has strong expertise in a lot of things. She is a high level of IQ from a leadership standpoint. Then the emotional intelligence side is somebody who's incredibly empathetic. They're very open-minded. They don't get bothered if someone's late. They're very compassionate. They're not bothered if somebody fails in a class, meaning they don't get it right the first time. They're very patient. They're very relatable. They're easy to get along with. They're likable. Sometimes the intellectual intelligence side, they're not super likable. I've seen that in both ways. The goal is to develop both sides to be a super, super strong leader. They're non-judgmental. You never, ever judge others if you're a leader. When you become a leader, remember you're there to serve others. And that is the message that I want to send home about emotional intelligence. You tend to be selfless. You're collaborative. You always look to work with others, and you give credit to others where credit is due. You're motivating, naturally. You just kind of do that whether you like it or not. You're trustworthy. Your reputation is built on doing the right things at all the right times. You might fail every once in a while, but you have a high level of integrity, and you're patient. And so that is, if you have those key components, even a little bit, you might not have all of it, but as you develop your leadership skill, you want to start checking these things off to make sure that you're a strong leader. Fourth and last level of leadership applications. This is how you tactically apply it. So there are two sides, two halves of whole leadership. There's the operational side, and then there's the empowering side. I've explained all of that kind of a little bit more in detail already, but let's see how we actually implement inside the business. From an operational standpoint, we are forming good habits with teaching, training, our training systems, our educational formats, et cetera, et cetera. We're developing high levels of skill. You have 3 levels of skills that you need to develop at mastery level to become a master stylist or a master producer. You don't have to be a stylist. You can be a master esthetician. You can be a master at anything, master front desk trainer, anything. But the skills are this: business skill, personal skill, which is guest experience and leadership, and then also your technical skill. So you might be a technical skill trainer, but maybe you're not strong enough to train on personal skill just yet. And then the dialogue built all around that. That's very operational. So develop those parts first if you want a strong operational leadership side. And then the empowering side is building the culture, which we explained to you guys already. Hi, Stephen. The building that culture with that foundation, start with the policies and procedures, and then start with the personal skill sets and developing guest experience and employee experience. And then that will build that culture around that for you. Changing the mindset, growing the mindset, developing the mindset, constant infusion of new ideas, new thoughts, and then to help them succeed in their lives will be the empowering side of it. You know, how successful are they at saving money? How successful are they at buying a new car, buying a new house? You're leading them and coaching them on that as well. There's not a business owner that I know that doesn't help their team to some degree on that side. So I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to have any part of that, but really you kind of are if you are a leader, a true leader in your business. I mean, I know some of you are strong leaders, but maybe you don't want to have any part of that. But unfortunately, you will have to accept some of that as part of the task. And then the next slide is management versus leadership. So here's how you apply. From an operational standpoint, you're going to manage your task. You're going to create processes. You're going to write down your methods. You're going to train those on a regular basis. You're going to give directive authority to certain people. So that person will have the title, the task list, and the job duties, and then the task list around that, and hold them accountable to getting that done. They're going to develop a high level of tactical skill, a lot of intellectual intelligence, technically skill driven. They're analytical, and they become masters of delegation because they're on the dot and they have time. The operational people aren't behind the chair typically. They typically come from the front desk department. And so they tend to be tend to be very time sensitive. So they're very good to manage the structure that is the hard part for most business owners and stylists. The other part is going to be the leadership. So management is that side. And then to lead the teams, create the systems, vision, experiences, making sure that every moment and beautiful and growing and nurturing, suggesting, they don't tell and directive, right? They are very personally skill driven. They understand the business side. They leverage performance. They become masters of coaching, right? So they're not delegation, they're more coaches than anything else. They become intuitive to the psychology of people. And then they're very, very high multitaskers. This is why they tend to be a little late a lot, but that's that slide. So the next slide is breaking that concept of the applications down just a little further. So there's 3 levels of management, really, if you break it down. There's macro level, there's micro level, and then there's self level. So macro level, if you study Business 101 or Leadership 101, they're going to tell you macro level is the visionary. They're the ones building out the framework. It's like this. Let's say you are the bus driver, you're building your house, right? And so as you build the house, you're putting all the framework up, right? So that part's done. So once that part is done, then you got to itemize the rooms. And so now in the kitchen, you get the kitchen specialist to come in there and do that. Those are the micro level managers and the micro level leaders. And so then the bedroom, that's another one. You want certain things to have happen in the bedroom, right? Some of us. Certain things to happen in the kitchen, certain things to happen in the deck, certain things to happen in the formal living room, right? So you know every single thing that you want to happen at that micro level, but the macro level is the one building the framework out. And then at self-management level, your ultimate goal as a leader is to create other leaders. Not only just to lead your teams, but to become leaders themselves. And so every goal around leadership is to do that. So make sure that as you are breaking all of this up and you're learning leadership yourself and you're developing your teams and you're looking at your team, sometimes you want to punch them and sometimes you want to fire them and sometimes you want to love them, that you are seeing them for what they really are, which is a task for, or a person that's skilled in that department or in that room of that house. So build that room for them, assign them the right task, give them the right duties and the responsibilities, and then let them go, right? And so in the micro level, you're breaking it down even more. I would suggest that you break it into 2 components, non-income producing and income producing leaders. So from a non-income producing standpoint, these are from your front desk team, typically, or your assistant team, but most of the time from your front desk. You're going to give them task lists. You're going to give them pay concepts around that to make sure they're paid properly for the leadership around that. And you're going to create more tracking and documentation. And then the income producing, I'm going to give you these task lists right here on these slides, I promise. These are coming from the assistants or the stylists. So this is for somebody who's behind the chair, working, they do 35 hours a week. They are not meant to do the documentation and the paperwork side, guys. You can't hold them accountable to that. They don't have the time nor the skill set. So they have a certain level of consciousness for empowering. Let them do that. Let them build that. And then these operational ones, let them do that. And so if you break this up into your leadership, you will be so much more effective behind your leadership, and you won't have all these crazy expectations of people that really can't do it anyway. So it's not that they are bad or good or smart or whatever. It's just literally as simple as just understanding if you're too busy behind the chair, then give them certain task lists that they can do that while they're working behind the chair, and vice versa. So if you go to the next slide, it's the 4 teams of your business. Remember I was saying in our last class on the 10th, you have to create your 4 teams, your front desk teams, your assistant teams, your leadership teams, and your service provider teams. The front desk team is going to be in charge of what's in that gray little slice of pie there. Your sales, your guest experience, your tracking, your booking policy procedures, and non-income producing leaders there. Your assistant teams are going to be support for the guest experience, so support, high productivity, new SPs, brand integration. Leadership teams are going to be in charge of magnification, of revenue, of skill, of teams, of people, of all of that. And the guest experience, training your teams, brand integration, and business functionality. And then the service provider teams is really going to be in charge of the revenue, producing it, making sure they're delivering an amazing, incredible guest experience every time, brand integration of what you create as the vision of your business, the training of the other teams and skill sets. They are the income producing leaders. All right, I'm going to give you guys the task list for each one.
So income producing leaders, this is the advantage. They have more impact on income producers. So a stylist will most likely listen to a stylist, right? A stylist most likely will not listen to a front desk as well. So make sure you put the right people in front of the right people. They work hand in hand every day. They have very limited time. They're very creative thinkers, and they don't have time for documentation. They're not strong in it anyway. And it's not a skill they need to do. Here is their task list. Duties of a stylist manager in our business, and as we share this with other businesses, is that they have to lead by example. So if you jump to the next slide, is this too much? Are you guys wanting me to slow down? Okay, duties of stylist manager. I expect them to lead by example and follow all policies, to be a brand champion, which means if they're in and out of the business, if they're in a restaurant, they're championing our brand. They're selling the business. They're sharing cars. They're sharing branding kits. They're bringing in clients. They're the rainmakers. They're trying to get business in. That's who they are, and they represent. If a income producing leader stops being a brand champion, meaning they start getting shitty and they start becoming a cult leader and instead infuse their own bullshit into the team, I will flag that very, very quickly. And in my experience, I would tell you to remove them quicker than leaving them there, especially if they have reached an influence level higher than your influence level. So brand champion stays below your level of influence. Your level of influence must be higher, and then they champion your brand behind you. They have to represent what you want, and they can collaborate on it, but everyone needs to get agreement on it first. They participate in all salon management without bitching and complaining and without fail. Meetings, etc. Teaching courses to junior stylists. They will be taught and paid and structured and scheduled to teach courses to junior stylists. They perform skill assessments for junior stylists and for their price increases. They monitor color, bar mixing, wastage. They monitor all salon cleaning and designate responsibility, and they manage break room activities. So which means that they're in the back room and they hear some bullshit going on, they're going to flag them with a preset dialogue of saying, hey guys, I don't think anyone in this back room is going to solve that problem for you. Only Nikki can solve that problem, or maybe Diane can solve that problem, or maybe Ivy can solve that problem. So you should probably go to them and talk, but let's not talk about that in the back break room. So they're authorized to make that kind of statement in the back room. Very important. And then that's it. That's all their task. And so they will get paid to do all of those tasks, meaning I will either pay them an additional fee, salary, or I will pay them an additional benefits like additional paid vacation or additional tool. There's many, many different ones. There's so many different benefits, but it just depends. And then that next slide is all the different ways that you can pay them where you don't have to pay them outright. If you want to pay them outright, a fee, a salary, that's totally fine with me. But these are some of the ways that you can pay them to do it. I would definitely pay them and have them sign a compensation contract for that as well, so they understand what their responsibilities are. And then the next task lists are going to be for the non-income producing. This is 5 pages worth. So you can see that the income producing only had 1 page of task list. The non-income producing have 5, okay? And so I'm not going to read these to you. I'm going to just go through them really quickly. You guys can read them and you guys can save them. So some of the duties would be lead by example, all aspects of retail ordering. So these are the people that are doing a lot of inventory, retailing, sales meetings, retail trainings, performing all interviews, checking, well, not all interviews, but most of the interviews, checking emails, pulling in the video interviews, regular job requests, advertisement, marketing, time assessments. They're the ones that assess the time. And then performing goal settings in 3 to 6 month increments as well. Some of the other ones we're going to be monitor and track activity. I'm going to pull off the one, or like review all front desk team documentations daily, salon emails. They create the schedule changes. They're checking drawer counts. They're doing 1-minute manager techniques to having preset dialogue on that. They're filling out the infraction forms if there's any, etc. All the paperwork, okay? So again, more stuff on there. Managing, monitoring, salon cleaning, designate responsibilities. So you have 2 teams doing it. Creating weekly duty list. Staying on top of that, all the promotions, the monthly promotions, they're managing that as projects. They're creating the to-do list for that, task completion, and being brand champions. And these are the pay strategies for non-income producing managers. This will be slightly different. I would recommend coaching on this, guys. So I'm going to tell you that if you choose to start developing leadership in your salon, you need to probably consider hiring a leadership
coaching team around you to develop all of these skills. You're going to have to start attending some leadership classes, and then you're going to have to start diving into the compensation for these type of managers, so that it's very, very fair for you, okay, and fair for them. All right, so in the zone training manual, we have leadership as a portion of it. I discussed this with you guys earlier. This is a 140 and all of the different structures. Can you guys hear me?
Nikki, you're muted right now. Hold on.
Am I
There you
muted?
go.
Okay.
You are unmuted now. You lagged out totally.
Okay. So what I was just saying about this program that we built was to give to your leadership team to use to train. We can talk about that further, but I think I've taken so much of your time tonight. If you guys want to know about that, please let me know and I will structure that for you guys later. Okay. All right. Next slide is, Iva, if you could just click it a couple more times, that would be awesome. A couple more times, about 3 more times. I want to wrap with these next 2 slides, guys. So just stick with me for just a little bit longer. I thank you so much for giving me so much of your time tonight. This is the 4 keys to prepare for success. 1, you have to think that you can change the way you think, right? Your mindset is your steering wheel. You have to reprogram it with affirmations and understand that you can actually do this. It's okay. Leadership is just a skill that you can learn. So don't think that you're either born that way or you're not born that way. I think some of us have natural leadership ability, but I think that most of us, I'm the worst leader in the entire world in the sense that I'm unstructured and I give until my heart bleeds and I have no way of stopping that. And so I have had to learn to be a better leader in all of that. 2, you have to plan. You have to write down everything everywhere. Allow yourself to imagine what your business would look like with amazing leadership. And there are no limits to this. You have to, 3, learn. Educate yourself ferociously and everything so that you stay intellectually ahead of the game than your team. You have to invest yourself more than you invest in anything else because you are the driving force for this company and this business. And as the leader, there's truth and reality and knowledge. And I think that's super important to understand. And 4, you have to actually apply and have action. It's the ultimate goal. You have to apply gratitude. You have to apply principles. You have to apply constant training. You have to take the hits. And you have to know that action is imperfect. And then all of that is always moving forward, whether it's imperfect or not. So I'm going to share this last thought with you.
She's going to share the last thought in slow motion because we really want to hit it home and make sure you guys get it.
I was
On
thinking the
infinite
same
leadership.
thing.
Please, all of us, right? Hustler diet. Or...
Are we back on?
Okay.
Do we have her again? Nikki, you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
We lost you on the last thought.
Okay, so let me jump right into the last part, which is infinite mentality. Infinite mentality. I want you to think about leadership like this. How many of you have gone to the gym and worked out for 2 hours, but then looked in the mirror afterwards and you're like, well, shit, I'm exactly the same as I was beforehand, right? Or how many of you have gone back a week afterwards and been like, oh, I'm still the same. No weight loss, maybe 1 pound, maybe 1.5 pounds. It's just not big enough to really notice. But if we maintain consistency in everything that we do and know that there are no rules to business, right? If you go play baseball, there are rules. There's team blue and team red. You got to play for 2, hours. There's how many ever innings. You got to play it, and then when you're done, the team that has the most points wins. That's not how business works. Business is infinite. And we just apply every day. Just do little things every day. Just delegate every day. Just put one more thing in, just one more thought, one more little, just a little at a time. And over the next year or 2 years, you will look back and you will see that your leadership was infinitely more successful. If you don't start now, if you don't start working out, and don't worry about the result of that day, if you don't start eating healthy, if you don't start leading, if you don't start interfacing, if you don't start implementing, just in the littlest, tiniest of moments and movements in your business, then you're never going to get to that place. Leadership is infinite like that. It continues to grow. And so I'm hoping that you guys really can see that leadership is so critical to the growth of your company and to the growth of your business. And Patty, you're right. There is no instant gratification in leadership. And most of the time you're beaten to death over it. But you have to take the hits, and being a really good leader means you can take the hits too, but then you know when to call the shots, and you know when you need to end it. Strong leadership can be very heartfelt servant leadership, but it also can be ferocious when you need it to be. But choose to put good into the world every day. I'm going to say to you guys what I say to my kids every morning before they go to school. What good are you going to do tomorrow? Who are you going to do it for? And that's what I would encourage you guys to look at. So any questions for me?
Lots of amens and right-ons and all that good stuff that you've come to expect in all these days. I don't know if personally, from some of the comments that came through, looking at all the slides, you sort of reflect a little bit. We've personally been off in New Jersey for the last 4 weeks. So besides dealing with everybody's unemployment issues and the stupid loans and all that stuff, you really haven't had time to reflect back on where you were before you had to close, right? So
Right.
I have a folder of projects I never got to and things we wanted to implement. And, I just feel like, our staff now, which we're really friendly with, and some had been on the call tonight, I have to reflect back, my wife and I as leaders, and say, hey, you know what? I know we care about you, which we always did, but there's certain things that you have to step up to the plate too, because this has been
I think it cut out again, guys, but I hear you. James, I think I've cut out. Have I cut out?
no, you're back on. You're back
No,
on.
it was him. He hit the mute button by accident, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to go over a couple quick observations. Of course, I could probably ask 1,000 questions, but I'm sure everybody's tired at this point. That was so much knowledge. It could have been a 3-month course, and that was awesome of you to provide. What I'd like to ask is a couple comments, which I love. What gets calendared gets done, and I love your theory about the 168-hour theory. And I don't know if we have Nikki on. She might have cut out again. Iva, can you unshare the slides for right now? Maybe that'll help.
On here and everything.
There we go. Nikki, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear my question to you or no?
Yeah, I did. All I heard you say was that you love the 168-hour theory and that you love the idea of what did you say it was? That might have cut out exactly right at that time.
What gets calendared gets done.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, how do you get it all done? And I know I get asked that question 1,000 times. Well, thank God I have Iva to get it done, because I probably wouldn't get half as much done. But how I get everything done is just put it on the calendar and just do it. Rather, it's
I also like that on your lists, you always have people signing off for accountability and judging them. You know, I coach a lot of owners who give a lot of tasks out, but then I ask them, did those tasks get done? And they
Right.
say, no, they didn't get done. And I say, why not? Didn't you have the manager or whoever was accountable sign off? No, I did not. I'll remind them. No, you have to have accountability. You just have to. Otherwise,
Right.
it's a wasted task that you gave out.
Right. I agree. I think but you know, instead of surprising them with the accountability factor, it has to be built in as part of the structure. You know, that's what I want to make sure you guys understand. It just can't be like, oh, by the way, surprise, I'm holding you accountable. You know,
We are going to hold Nikki accountable for a new internet connection.
Sure are.
Hey, I have a while Nikki's in slow motion. When do you unmute
when you
yourself?
leave it, guys, I hope that you guys heard. Mute yourself, Iva.
What you need?
So Phyllis asked a question, and I think that obviously both of you can answer it, but I know your position, Iva. How long would it take to put some? She says all, but how long does it take to put some of that in place in your salon?
Years.
A long time.
Okay.
It's
It's
not-
constant.
But backup question to that is that if everybody's going to be closed all this time, right? So we've talked a lot about the new normal, and which, you know, I said I hate that every single call,
I
and the
hate-
sanitation protocols and the things that are going to happen. Don't you think that some of these things can just be interjected into that process? So automatically, instead of saying, hey, this took years, well, it's like now you have to be
Yes.
accountable for where that client is and where that ticket is and what the service is and how you report to the desk. Does that make sense?
Right. Nikki and I were talking the other day about the fact that, and I think we said it last Friday, you have been given a gift of time, no matter how horrific this circumstance is. You now have the gift of time to get a lot of this stuff implemented. I'm sure if you go back through all of these slides, there are a lot of things that you can get done and implemented by the time we go back to work.
Yeah, so I was dead on. So implementation can be quick, right? It's as hard as we want to put the processes in place. Accountability and training takes time. And that's the years-long process, right? But we should, as owners or managers, have this stuff ready to go.
I would say that a lot of us open the business without thinking about these things first. It's just, I want to open a business so I don't have to work for someone else, or I want to open a business because I like to decorate a salon and name it, or I want to open a business so that I can just change the world. You know, there's a lot of things like that. That's all very lofty and all very wonderful, but it sits up here. Below here, you have to create the foundation of your business, and creating a well thought out machine that is your training system that includes leadership in order to magnify the training of that team builds and grows your biggest asset.
I just had that exact same conversation with a salon owner this afternoon.
That's the message.
Nikki, I
Yeah,
just
we
want
lost
to,
Nikki.
we lost her again.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
my comment
I
to
just
everybody
want to say one thing, Derek, please.
is- Andrew, you go first.
Thank you. Nikki, you started out an hour and a half ago, hour and 40 minutes ago, and it was beautiful with clarity. And you took us through the complexities of clarity. And it seems to me that you're totally clear as to these are all the things that are required if you want to take your business and have a uber successful business. And it's the work that needs to be done. First, the work on ourselves, as you said, and then the work to help other people become the best that they can be. And they need systems, structures to do that. So
Right.
thank you for
Thank you.
all of that. It's tremendous
Thank you.
that what you put together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would
Am I
agree
still
with-
silent?
No, you're on now. So one of the things that you and Iva were just talking about before Andrew gave that beautiful comment was, and I'll bring it up, one of my favorite books is by Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, right? And I think what you were saying is a lot of stylists get into ownership as a service provider. And there's a difference in what they say in the E-Myth, and everybody should read the E-Myth. It's a brilliant book. But anyway, they teach you to get out of the service provider mentality. Now, I don't mean not providing service to your clients, but it teaches you how to think as a business owner instead of a service provider mentality. And that's what Nikki and I just went through in depth. I mean, but you just gave so much information. I love it. Thank you so much for giving all that information.
Thank you. I just want to do the best I can for you guys right now. I really believe in what you're doing. Thank you to everyone on here taking your time tonight to do that. You guys got it. You guys got it.
I love this slow motion. Oh, Ivan, you're so bad. All right, Iva, you have any wrap-up comments with Nick?
Not a thing. I think, how could you follow up with that? There's no way. I've learned my lesson.
We love, obviously, we all love the both of you.
Thank
Nikki will be on. I think her next one's with Gino. Nikki is still talking like the Tin Man. Nikki, if you can hear us, I just wanted to thank you and Iva. And I know you're going to be on here. I think it's next week or the week after with Gino. Correct? Is your next one, Iva?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And
Yeah.
tomorrow night, I think Andrew, we have Tina Black on tomorrow night.
We do.
Okay. Awesome. So again, thank you everybody for showing up tonight. Everybody give Nikki and Iva a big hand. You know, we did have a lot of storms going through the country, so internet is not as good as it's been. Make sure you watch the recaps, both live in group and on, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Salon Ops, and we'll see everybody tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Tina Black.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Night,
much.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Good night.